Hi all, Cindy's Art. Hey, today we're going to take the same type of reference photo that I used in a previous one to paint this realistic ocean beach wave. And I loved painting it both ways just to see what it would look like. So visit unsplash.com if you need ideas for painting. So to start this one off, see this blue that is in here? This is masking fluid. And I am letting you see this a little bit longer. I sketched the white foam. And I have special bottles I can use. They're called needle bottles, and I can put masking fluid in them. And it's called a needle bottle because it squirts out the masking fluid with these super duper fine lines, and I don't ruin brushes. So if you need another way and another idea of how to use masking fluid, check the supplies that are listed below. Take your time getting your paper wet. Get it wet, get it wet, get it wet, get it wet. And then let some of the sheen come off of the paper. I'm always looking at my paper a little bit sideways to see if I see the super duper shiny sheen to it, and then I know to wait and let it dry a little bit. So I'm wetting my palette down right now, and those are the colors that I used. And I am going to dab color in because I want it to run. So I'm using this really nifty quill brush that I use in some of my painting, and I am going to simply dab color like you saw me do in the beach wave abstract painting. I'm going to use the same concept and start painting this in. I've let the colors run. I've worked with very wet paper, very wet paint, and then I've let the colors run together. I have lines in here, and that's because I was letting the paper dry enough of where I could paint a line and it would hold it and it wouldn't get all fuzzy and spread out. Remember to work in sections. Right now I am painting the beach section. I was painting the water section, and when I was painting that water section I did not come into the white foam, and so that area is dry. So while I'm letting the top part dry, I'm going to another section that does not touch into the places that were wet. Otherwise my paint would bleed like crazy and would make a huge mess. We don't want to do that. So I'm using some of my beach colors, yellow ochre. I'm using a little bit of a darker brown because the beach actually was darker. And then I use a little bit of quinandronin red, and I probably murdered that name. I don't know how to pronounce it yet, so bear with me. But you can see how the colors are going to start to come out in this beach area, and I just love the colors of beaches. They're so pretty. If you watch me paint, you know that I like to layer my colors. I like to lay down those light washes, and then I like to add more color in. And you can see how light my ocean got as it dried. And so I'm going back in and I'm becoming more vibrant, and I'm not adding as much water to my paint. I'm still letting myself work with wet on wet so paint bleeds into and mixes on its own, but I'm looking more at the ocean waves that I found in that reference photo to get an idea of where I want the blues and where I want the darker blues. That dark blue is an indigo, and then I use a horizon blue and a cerulean blue. And I think I have a little bit of turquoise I add in at the end, but I'm keeping this really light. I love the washes. Oceans are one of my favorite things to paint. I'm to the point in this painting where I've developed the sand colors enough, the ocean colors enough. I really like the look. It's pretty soft. And if you take a look at the base of those white waves, I have got some black down there. It's actually probably a tiny bit of neutral that I added in. I didn't add solid black. And whenever a wave is going to crash, it creates a shadow. So you can see the shadow, especially in that bottom right-hand side. You can see the shadow. It really looks good there. So now I'm adding in gouache, which is Gouache, and that is more of an acrylic type of paint, and I can mix that with some of my watercolor colors, and it'll create this wonderful white that I can use in order for me to create the waves. So I'm going to continue to put this white on here, and then after I'm done putting it on, I will go back and put a little bit of gray tones or a little bit of light blues, or some of my horizon green. Horizon is a beautiful like light green color, and whenever you see white in the water, it's going to have a variety of whites in it. It's not going to be pure white. So I throw this on. You can see I'm using the side of the brush. I'm scrubbing that baby. I'm doing all sorts of different things. I want to create the foam. I don't want to create a lot of detail. Just play with it, have fun, and see how yours comes out. Now, as I'm finishing this picture out, one of the things that I want you to know is that I have a little tiny handy screen that I use that I will put paint on top of, and then I will blow the paint out of that screen onto the picture, and it creates beautiful sand. I have my closing picture. I'm going to leave it up here for a second because I want you to be able to look at some of the detail. I'm going to fuss through this painting right now. I'm just seeing if I like, if there's enough white. I'm touching that up. As I blew paint onto the sand, it really darkened it up, and I think it finished it off nicely. So this is a little bit darker color of the picture, but take a look at that sand. You can create that by simply tapping your brush, but I put paper towel around my water when I create sand because I don't want that sand or paint blowing up into the picture. So if you want a creative way to create sand in your painting, then make sure that you get a screen or tap carefully your brush onto another brush where you're getting small dots, not large ones. I think the screen is a little bit more even in doing that. The other thing I want you to look at is the base of those waves. There's a lot of color that's in the foam. Some of them have a little bit of purple, gray, blue. Sand and water always will have a yellow ochre in it, and then you could do blue washes over top of it. So this is how mine turned out. I would love to see yours. Join me on Patreon if you would like to be a supporter and help me continue to make videos. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Patreon. So guys, I would love to see your pictures, the abstract and the realistic. Y'all have a great day, and we will see you next time.